Hello, my friends. Today, the Ukrainian Armed Forces are actively engaged in destroying the occupiers who are being pulled closer to the Kherson-Crimean direction. There are reports of explosions in Henichesk and Skadovsk. Details are not available yet, but according to preliminary information, it's another blow to the occupant bases, resulting in significant losses. However, as of now, the front line in the Kherson direction remains unchanged. The occupiers continue shelling and report launches of guided aerial bombs. And here, Saldo has declared that they will soon return to Kherson.
The head of the Occupation Administration of Kherson Oblast said that he had spoken with the President of the Russian Federation and the military, and everyone is determined to return to Kherson. The head of the Occupation Administration of the Kherson region, Volodymyr Saldo, said that he would recapture Kherson. He made the corresponding statement at the Congress of the United Russia Party, which took place in Rostov-on-Don, Russian media write. In particular, collaborator Saldo said that he spoke with Russian President Putin and the military on Friday. According to him, everyone is determined to return to Kherson. In addition, Saldo also threatened to capture Mykolaiv, Odessa, and Izmail.
But Russian war correspondents are already laughing at this statement.
Historically, as soon as the governor of the Kherson region of Russia, Volodymyr Saldo, says something, everything immediately comes true, but exactly the opposite. More than a year ago, on July 11, 22, Volodymyr Saldo said that Kherson would always be under Russia. On this landmark day, I want to assure you, dear fellow countrymen, that Kherson will stand, because although our steps are wide, there is nowhere to retreat again, as in 41. But we soon had to retreat temporarily and leave the city. And today Volodymyr Vasilyevich said the following: I spoke on Friday with the Supreme Commander-in-Chief, with the military, everyone is determined to return to Kherson. We will liberate our land. Then there will be Mykolaiv, Odessa, and Izmail.
In the Zaporizhzhia direction, there is a significant amount of shelling in the Kupiansk and Pyatikhatki areas. Periodic offensive actions are carried out in the Robotyne area. The Russians are not achieving success, and conversely, the Ukrainian Armed Forces are conducting counterattacks and repelling some positions. Therefore, there is some movement along the front line, but no major storming operations are being conducted. Thus, on the front line maps, there are no significant changes. In the Vuhledar direction, the occupiers continue shelling the entire front line, but no offensive actions are being carried out at the moment. The Russians are regrouping and bringing in new reserves, which the Ukrainian Armed Forces successfully defeat right in the rear. In the Avdiivka direction, there is also a significant amount of shelling, but our units are also striking in the rear, and active work of air defense systems was observed in the Donetsk area. Meanwhile, the front is experiencing intense fighting. The occupiers are advancing both on the flanks and directly towards Avdiivka. Today, battles continue in the industrial zone, and from Opytne, the Russians are trying to break through the fields to the outskirts of Avdiivka. There have been no successes in the past day, but the attacks persist. On the flanks, there are attacks on Novobakhmutivka and Berdychi. Periodic attacks occur in Svatove, and on the southern flank, battles continue for Severne, with the occupiers breaking through to Tonenki. However, the Ukrainian Armed Forces are doing everything to prevent them from securing these positions. Southward, battles are fought for the outskirts of Marinka, and attempts to break through to Novomykhailivka don't cease. In doing so, the Russians suffer enormous losses every day and don't advance a single meter. The Ukrainian Armed Forces successfully maintain their defense.
Значить, да, третя хвиля пішла більш інтенсивно, це видно по всім ознакам їхніх дій. От, тобто, воно не закінчилось ніколи взагалі, не було такого дня, щоб не проводились певні там дії з їхнього боку. Але зараз інтенсивність збільшилась. Це значить, що у них щось підгорає, щось якісь там, видно, терміни їх чекають, жмуть і так далі.
А ви можете нам сказати, от з якого напрямку, з вашої точки зору, ви вже сказали про те, що це завжди загрозливо, але все ж таки є найбільшою небезпека, і з якого напрямку ситуація найскладніша, саме якщо ми говоримо про спроби штурмувати Авдіївку?
Розумієте, в чому питання? Значить, у нас загроза є від усіль. Загроза є від усіль. Вони зараз приймають таку тактику, значить, дії б'ють в одну точку, і тут же буквально там, не послабляючи ударів сюди, б'ють в іншу. Де саме і що саме? Ну, наразі краще про це не говорити в ефірі.
In the Bakhmut direction, complex battles continue across the entire front line. Attacks are directed towards Bogdanivka, Khromove, Ivanivka, Klishivka, and Andriivka. The front line remains unchanged as our fighters robustly hold their defensive positions and repel all attacks. Although it must be acknowledged that the situation is very challenging and the potential of the Russians is significant. They continuously mobilize reserves and the attacks persist. As for what to do when Russia runs out of military personnel, Putin has given an answer to that.
Слава Богу, сохраняется традиция крепкой, многопоколенной семьи, где воспитываются 4, 5 и больше детей. Вспомним, что и в русских семьях, у многих наших бабушек, прабабушек, детей было и по 7, и по 8, и того больше человек. Давайте эти замечательные традиции сберегать и возрождать. Многодетность, большая семья должны стать нормой, образом жизни для всех народов России.
In the Krimenna and Siversk areas, the occupiers continue shelling and once again attempt to achieve some success. However, they are unable to break through neither in the forest nor in the Zaporizhzhia area to push the Ukrainian Armed Forces beyond the river. There are no changes in the front line over the past day. This is not the first attempt to attack in this direction, and the Ukrainian Armed Forces successfully defeat them here. We'll see how long the Russians can sustain this time. In the Svatove direction, the occupiers persist in their attacks on Stelmachivka, but as before, they achieve no success and the front line remains unchanged. Thanks to our fighters in this direction, the occupiers are equally successfully neutralized. In the Kupiansk direction, the occupiers continue their offensive actions in the Sinkivka and Petropavlivka areas. They don't achieve any success and the front line remains unchanged over the past day. Artillery preparation is also taking place in the Ivanivka area, and there is a possibility of resuming assault operations in the near future. In this direction, the Russians actively use aviation and attempt to shell using guided bombs. Meanwhile, progress in Russia is not standing still. Instead of allocating the budget to military affairs, the Russian ministry has decided to develop its own domestic artificial intelligence.
Russia's obsession to compete with the West continues with the introduction of its own AI chatbot, GigaChat. Sberbank, Russia's largest banking institution, announced the release and testing phase of the nation's first ChatGPT competitor named GigaChat. Not to be confused with the slang term GigaChat, identified in Urban Dictionary as a strong, tall and masculine alpha male and often depicted in memes as a digitally altered version of the famous Russian fitness model and bodybuilder Ernest Kalamov, GigaChat was designed specifically for the native Russian speaker. Sberbank claims GigaChat's novelty is its ability to communicate more intelligently in Russian than other foreign neural networks. Sberbank CEO described GigaChat as a breakthrough for the larger universe of Russian technology.
And that's all from now. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.